So this is maybe going to be an interesting video because tonight is Game 7 of the World Series. The Astros lost last night, making it a winner-take-all Game 7. God, I hate this kind of crap. Stresses me out. Uh, but that's just because I get stressed out about sports and stressed out about everything, actually. But the reason I bring this up, I remember like 2 years ago when the Astros won the World Series. It was probably around like 10 or 11. They just finished, and me and my brother were watching it at home. My mom and dad were there too. And as soon as we won, my brother was like, "Hey, you want to go check out Academy?" And I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." So we get in a car, drive out there to Academy, and there's like a line of like 200 people already there. This is like 30 minutes after the game. People already lined up outside of Academy, like line out, like waiting to buy World Series championship merchandise. And this is not to shit on them or shit on people or but I it seems to me like very very interesting how I feel like people like why what are they so excited about? Like like when I was a kid, I remember watching the Houston Rockets win their championships back to back, and I was probably like 12 or 13 years old, or however long it was, however old it was. But I mean, I remember being invested in liking it because they're like I've this is like sports teams is just such a weird concept for me because like I think a lot of sports fans follow a team because that's where they live. It's like, oh, I'm from Houston, so I love the Astros. Like that's what people, I guess people do. Like I have a friend from Philly, and he like loves the Philly teams. He loves the Eagles. He loves, I guess, the Flyers. It would be, and he likes the 76ers. But he's like die hard about it. And like for me, following sports teams, I always liked the Astros growing up, but I liked the Astros growing up because I liked the players. Like, and I always like dreamed of myself like playing for the Astros or something. I'd like be in the yard throwing the ball in the air and just running and diving and try to catch it, and imagining myself, as Biggio or Bagwell or Derek Bell or Ken Caminiti, or was it Jim DeShays or Mike Scott, and I was always like I always like got drawn to players, and it was the same thing with the Rockets. I can still tell you like almost everybody who was on the Rockets teams back then because I really was like invested in you know, all the players. We got Tracy Murray with Clyde Drexler on the trade. Chucky Brown was on the team. Y'all remember Chucky Brown? Yeah, like I just it's weird. It's really really weird. Like because I mean that's still kept with me today. Like I follow football teams based on like players. Like for instance, like when Peyton Manning went from Indianapolis to Denver, then suddenly I was a Denver fan, and then now like it's very hard for me to follow Denver because there's nobody on Denver that I particularly like, or I guess I particularly like relate to. There's reasons why I relate to certain people. If that's a question, I can answer that another thing. But going back to my original topic is like it's a weird concept for me that people follow sports teams based on, well, that's where I'm from, so that's the I just it's just a weird like concept of why they would for me why they get emotionally invested, like when a team wins a championship, like people get really excited about it and they feel like it's kind of like an accomplishment, right? But really, like, did we really do anything? you know like we didn't, like, we cheered for them, yeah, but I mean, were you cheering? Like, it's not like you were cheering every game and you showed up every, like, hey, I'm going to show up every game and be there for you to cheer for you. It's not like you're there all the time, right? So it's just, it seems like such some. And this again, this I don't want this to sound like I'm shitting on people, but it just seems like, what are you so like? It's a sense of like entitlement that like did you really do you really deserve that? It's weird. It's really weird how it like pulls a city together too, like winning a championship. I mean, it's interesting, it's awesome, but I just also feel like it's like undeserved sometimes. And then you get the people who start acting like asshats. Yo, our city wanted, our city won a championship. Now I feel like I can like rub it into other cities or like act like an asshole to other people. It's like, no, why? You know, I don't know. It kind of rubs me the wrong way. Maybe I can't figure out how to like verbalize it, vocalize it. I can't. I feel like I can't put it into words, but it's such a weird feeling to me. Like how people get like imagine like, if that's the case, then why don't like why isn't there somebody who goes around and just moves from city to city, and like every year their city wins the championship, right? You could essentially do that, right? And would people get like joy out of that? But like, hey, yeah, every year I'm out there. I won like my city won a championship. I mean, yeah, okay, because like here's the thing. So I'm a big Houston sports fan, because I grew up in Houston. I've been in Houston all my life. So so I can understand those kind of fans, right? The people who are like I was born and raised here. This is where I'm from, right? But essentially, there's also people who are like, oh, well, I just moved to Houston 2 months ago, right? Like, are those people less invested? Like, are they less happy when we win a championship? Okay, if that's the case, then okay, maybe the picture becomes a little bit more clear, like why people get more invested than others, or why they're so invested, But like, remember when like the Cubs won the World Series, and like, oh, it's been 100 years since they won the World Series, and I'm like, yeah, it's been 100 years, but like, how many of those people were actually like actually had to wait 100 years? Pretty much nobody, right? I mean, some people waited their whole life, maybe, like 70 years or something like that, or 50 years or 40 years, but they were making it up to be like some 100-year wait. And it's like, look, none of you guys, like, very rare, very, 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 very few of you guys, like, experienced that. And y'all experienced the, Chicago Bulls championships. So you had something. So I don't know. I'm just rambling now. Just talking about stuff. I don't know. Hopefully, you guys saved me, dude. Give me some comments. Tell me about what you feel, because I don't know. Just there's something about championships that like in cities and how they feel about it that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. By all means, I want to win tonight. I hope we win. I hope we do well. I just want us to, but yeah. Okay. Thanks. Bye.